Earlier today, I was giving a lesson and the conversation was all about lag in the downswing. Now, this current client was told that he needed to hold his angles for as long as possible in the downswing in order to then compress the golf ball more. However, when we started to dive into this, we found that him trying to do that actually caused the opposite effect. It caused him to early extend and throw his angles out. Now, this is something that I see so many golfers struggle with. They are told to lag this angle down. And honestly, it's one of the worst pieces of advice you could give a golfer. And today I'm going to show you exactly why that is. So to start this video, what I'm going to do is explain two different things. Number one, lag, and number two, shaft lean. And a lot of people use these two together. However, they are two completely separate measurements. So first and foremost, what is lag? What do we term it? How do we measure it? Well, lag is measured by the angle between our lead arm and the club. So at address, I have a certain amount of angle right there. As I go back, I'll gradually start to set my wrist. And again, this angle is going to start to narrow up a little bit. And then in the downswing, we will see that there is a certain amount of angle between the lead arm and the club. Now, what lag isn't, is it isn't shaft lean. Shaft lean in itself is a completely different measurement. Shaft lean is at the point of contact, so at impact, how much lean do we have to the shaft? So we will have a vertical line up here, which is our starting point, and then we'll measure where the shaft is from there. Now with a 7-iron like I have here, amateurs will tend to be with a slower clubhead speed around 6 degrees, and then the faster your clubhead speed is, the more shaft lean you're going to have to compress the ball, control the flight, and the top end is going to be something like 12 degrees of shaft lean. So the key thing that we have to understand is that lag does not equal shaft lean. Shaft lean is something different to lag. So what I'm going to explain today is how is lag generated, why is it important, and actually how do we generate shaft lean? So to start this off, let me actually hit a golf shot and let's break some numbers down. Let me give you some data just to back up everything. So let's take a look at the data here. And I am by no means saying I am a perfect example. I've played to a decent level. I've had world rankings, official world rankings. I've played Division I college golf, but I am just using myself as an example. So when we look at this data, what we can see is I'm in sort of the high 140s at address. And this is the angle created between the lead arm and the club. Now, as I swing back, that angle gently starts to narrow. I am a golfer who likes to have a wider golf swing. It feels more natural to me. And as I get to the top of the backswing, I'm still relatively wide, but you will see this down cocking happen in transition. Now this down cocking really happens, number one, because my forearms are nice and relaxed, and number two, as I am shifting my weight, the momentum sort of cocks this club downwards this way into the back of my trail wrist. Now from there, the key thing we got to look at is when is the angle the narrowest? And for me, it's 95 degrees, and it happens just before left arm parallel in the downswing. So it happens roughly around here. So notice how I didn't go well past 90 degrees like so many people are saying. And second of all, notice how it happened really early, because after this, all I'm actually doing is actually releasing the club down. I'm widening the club out. And this is crucial because otherwise, if I stayed narrow, 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 I would never actually get the club head to the ball. So I'd top it or miss it or just hit it awful. So I have to feel like I'm throwing the club down. And this is actually what I focus on in my game. I feel like I am casting the club in the downswing in order to be able to deliver that club correctly. So here's the thing, lag does not equal shaft lean. I'll say that again. Lag does not equal shaft lean. So what I'm going to do now is, number one, explain this and how you can get sort of this nice rhythmical sort of swing, a little bit of down cock and then a release, which is really important for speed. But then I'm going to go into how we can actually deliver shaft lean and the correct ways of going about that. This is a golden video you've got to watch. So before I go into that, let's just quickly show you two examples. This is Xander Schauffele, who has one of the best golf swings in my opinion. As you can see in the backswing, he is well wider than 90 degrees. And as we come down to left arm parallel in the downswing, again, he is wider than 90 degrees. Now, Scotty Scheffler, who I think we can all agree right now is the hottest ball striker, well, as of recording this video, is the best ball striker in the world by a long shot. And he is wider than 90 degrees in the backswing. And again, as he comes down to left arm parallel in the downswing, guess what? He's wider than 90 degrees. So it is none of this lagging the angle as much as possible. If you do that, you're gonna hit the ball worse. There are two great examples. So how do we create this sort of silky smooth, a little bit wider, a little down cock and then release look, which is so important for tempo, for overall swing speed and just consistency? Well, we've got to understand a couple of things. Number one, the club head is always gonna trail what the body is doing if you can keep your arms relaxed. Now to demonstrate this, I'm just going to grip the club with my thumb and index finger, so I have barely any pressure holding this. Then from there, I'm going to place it in the center of my chest. Now if I have a little weight shift to start my swing, so kick from my left foot to my right foot, recenter and swing back through, you can see the club head is always slightly behind where my weight is going. And actually I can generate quite a bit of swing from barely any movement here. And this is how we can propel this club into the ball with quite a bit of speed. But notice I was never holding any angles. The angles were constantly changing as I was doing this. Now, the second piece is then to take it one step further and to understand that first of all, we've got to keep these arms relaxed. You can grip it relatively tight, so maybe a 5 out of 10, because again, we've got to have some control over this club, but your forearms and your wrists need to be relaxed. So a great exercise I like to get golfers to do is pick the club up in front of you and just do some little mini lassos, just like so, and you can see this relaxes down my forearms. Now, a second exercise I love to do to help golfers learn this motion is grip the golf club, but lift both of your thumbs up. Now from here, you'll feel like you cannot grip it tight. Then from there, just do some swings, and just allow that club just to swing through, and you'll notice that it wants to have that down cock and then release through nicely. And you can see I've just got both of my thumbs off the grip here and through. So I am just allowing this club just to very much follow what my body weight is doing. So what does that mean? Well, you've got to be able to move your body weight correctly and you've got to stay relaxed. If you can do that, I have videos on body weight movement, go check them out. But if you can do that, you're going to create this natural down cock. Again, there are many tour pros out there who have that beautiful silky smooth swing. None of them are thinking about this angle. If anything, they're actually trying to do the opposite. Most tour pros are thinking about casting the club in order to deliver width. So if I can do that for me here a couple of times, keep those thumbs nice and relaxed, get them back and through in this position, you can see that creates that natural down cock to then where the club releases. Now if I grip it and I do a swing, repeat that same principle, you can see as I come through, the club releases out, I get that nice high shot. And again, that doesn't have correlation to shaft lean. What it does have correlation to is being able to generate speed and that effortless, silky smooth look. So if that's how we generate that effortless look, how do we now actually generate shaft lean? Here's the golden piece of information. So here's how we actually deliver shaft lean. So first and foremost, we have to control two things. Number one, our delivery position. So we have to make sure we're in a good spot. And number two, we have to control club face. Now club face is by far the biggest element when it comes to this because shaft lean in itself is an opener of the club face. So in order to deliver shaft lean, you actually have to have a slightly closed club face position in order to deliver shaft lean. Now, this is where excessive lagging is going to result in zero shaft lean, because if you excessively lag the club, your wrist has to go into what we class as extension. This is cupping of the lead wrist. If I do that, it opens up the club face, and from there, I have to throw the angles out in order just to square the face. So with that in mind, if we can have this added width, it's going to make it so much easier to control the club face. And again, this is why we want that width. And what's our key checkpoint in terms of club face? Well, as we are coming down, if we take sort of this shaft parallel position, the downswing, I want to see, just to be on the safe side, the club face lean slightly down to the ground. Now, some players might have more, some players might have less, but if you're gently leaning somewhere down there, you're going to be in a good position. It's going to make life so much easier in terms of delivering shaft lean. But the big key position is this shaft parallel position, and it's actually from the front on view. I see so many amateurs get into a position to where their arms get stuck behind their body and their left hand, or their left hand right here, is way outside of their right leg. If you're in this position, you cannot deliver shaft lean. Because if we are in a good impact, our hands have to be in line with roughly our trail side. So if we were looking more from this angle, you would see my hands are in line with my sort of right hip from this angle, because I am twisted, my body is turned. So if I go here and I turn this way to you, to where my body is facing you, you can actually see how my hands are in line with my right side. So if you want to simplify down the downswing, you've got to get your hands back in front of your right leg as fast as possible, your right arm in front of your right hip. Then watch this. If I add a little bit of turn, boom, there's your shaft lean. And that is how you deliver that shaft lean. It's by getting your hands down and in front of your right leg, right hip as fast as possible to be able to square everything up. So if I go to the top of the backswing and I do a rehearsal swing where I do that shift, I have a little bit of down cock, then the club starts to widen. I get to this position here where the hands are in line with the right leg at shaft parallel. Again, notice I am not widening it, I'm not holding anything. In fact, the angles are widening on the way down, and I'm in this position here. Then from there, if I shuffle in and I add just a little bit of rotation, club continues to widen so the club head can get to the ground, and boom, there's your impact position. What's a great drill to help you with this? The split hands pump drill. Grip the club normally, hike it up, bring it in line with your toe line. Take your trail hand, place it just below the grip and point it away from you. Turn to the top, have a shift and pump it back down in front of you, and make sure the club head is slightly behind your hands as you do that. It's not out in this position. If you can do that, then you can see my hands are there. Slide my hands down. This is an exaggerated position, but again, it's going to make it so much easier to help you learn what it feels like to get your hands in front, to then be able to turn through. So this is the thing, this down cocking motion here, it will happen, but after that, everything's widening out. The key to delivering shuffling is not holding lag, it's actually getting your hands back in front of your right leg, so then from there, you can continue to release the club down towards the ground or throw your ankles out and then deliver shuffling. So don't get lag and shuffling mixed up. If you do, it's gonna be a dangerous combo. So one last time, here's what it should look like. So there you have it. That is the biggest difference between lag and shuffling. Understand the difference between the two, understand how one's there to generate that fluidity, the other's there to actually compress the golf ball. Now, if you have questions about that, please ask away. But I do hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please give it a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you back here soon.